You're not stealing my intro this week, girl, so I'm going to cut you off right there. This is Quinn, and welcome to the Q&R Code podcast, friends.
I was at a baby shower this past weekend, and somebody was asking, "Oh, are they gonna open the presents in front of us?" And I thought about how that sounded like a humiliation ritual, but then I realized, of course, it is so cute for other people to get to
Yeah.
see the little baby clothes, and it's fun for everyone. But since Quinn and I always took that on together, birthdays, but even for Christmas, a lot of the times it was like, okay, you girls open this gift at the same time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I don't like being the one person on the spot for everyone to gaze
Neither
upon
do
in
I.
my unwrapping.
That's why, I mean, our birthdays weren't the best apart. The birthday we spent, was it one or two birthdays that we spent apart? Two.
I think now too.
Now 2 birthdays we've spent apart, and honestly, the worst part about them was not being together. Second worst part was people addressing us singularly. They're like, "Oh, happy birthday to just you specifically," and then singing "Happy birthday, dear Quinn." I'm like, uh, Quinn. Well, I'm like, the most significant part about my birthday, the celebration I love the most about it is that it's us as a team celebrating. And so, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, having happy birthday sung to me solo, because even in classrooms, we always grew up in all of our classrooms together, same class, like same activities outside of school, same friend group. All of that stuff was together, as it damn should be, the way exactly how I like it and want it, and
As
that
Mother
it
Earth
shall remain.
intended.
As Mother Earth and my mother's womb intended, together forever. But it is hard being on the spot for being like, we sing happy birthday to each other, so when happy birthday is being sung, it's not like we just sit there and have to be quiet. Now I feel bad for all the singletons that are out there having happy birthday sang to them, and they just, now I get why people are like, "Oh, I don't really
Yeah.
like that." Because to me, I'm always like, "Happy birthday to you," to Riley, so I'm part of the sing-along, obviously.
And it's so much better when you go to a cafe or wherever and say, "It's my twin's birthday,"
Yes.
instead of having to be like, "Do I
It's
get
my
a treat for
birthday.
my birthday?"
Yeah. Give me something. Okay, 2 things for the pod real quick that I have to get off my chest. Okay. First thing is that I just have to address for our few YouTube watchers, which some of you have become loyal YouTube watchers. So thank you. And I'm obviously in front of a different setup because my parents are here at the homestead. We just got back to the homestead a couple days ago, and um I'm it is a hustle bustle time right now for us getting ready for our mulemanship clinic. So everyone's out and about. I just couldn't be in the main space, you guys. So I'm here. Here's a little sneak peek into a corner of my bedroom. Um, but with the way the setup works, I just have to tell you, I am not my camera this time is recording in a different location than where my computer that I get to look at my beautiful twin. And so you might notice that I'm looking off screen, but I just cannot avoid looking at my twin all episode. That would just be weird and phony.
I do love seeing a new little corner backdrop. So fun.
Thanks.
You are wearing such a cute cowgirl outfit, just a standard little thing Quinn would throw on for a day in the life. But it reminded me of when she was just at my house in Virginia, and she was wearing a similar situation, but a smaller hat and
A
a
cowboy hat and
wild
a wild
drag.
drag.
Yes, and
And overalls. And
it
overalls, I will
happened.
say.
Yeah,
And boots.
I will say there were overalls involved, but again, just didn't even cross my mind because it was such an ordinary outfit to me for either of us to wear. But then the day happens to be Halloween, and, people thought I was dressed up in a costume all day at different locations that we went around town.
Yeah, people thought I was playing cowgirl. I'm like, I am, but I'm committed. I'm a 365 day a year playing cowgirl. Um, it was sweet though. People were really hooting and hollering about my hat, which is really Riley's hat because Riley was so sweet to share her awesome vintage Stetson that's just the silver belly, so it's the kind of paler gray look, and I love the way it's done up. It's just a little it's hard to even say a little less hat because it is a little less hat, but it's just a little funkier and I like it funky. Um so that was so fun, but yeah, people were I got honked at. A double honk and a signal at my hat. So people in Virginia are pretty taken aback by the scene.
But also, who was your one compadre on the farm, Quinn?
Who was my compadre? Oh,
Yes, so
cute story
cute.
to tell. No kid haters for this story. We're at a farm in Charlottesville picking up beautiful fresh produce for Riley and Braden and us. My mom and I got to enjoy it as well. Um, remember we've told you about their CSA, so they do this. It's called Community Shared Agriculture, a CSA. No, Community Supported Agriculture. Um, and oh my gosh, the produce in Virginia, crazy. I always say to people who say, "Aren't you so sad your twin lives away from you?" No, it's probably me saying, "I'm so sad my twin lives away from me." um but then I also always feel like, but she lives in such an amazing place that I love so much that I'm so glad Brayden and Riley have had this time living in such a cute town and in such a different part of the country where their growing season is incredible and all the produce spread anyway. Crazy. We also got to go harvest sunflowers, which you might clock in Riley's YouTube. Um for the CSA, and so we were out in the sunflower field and then a group of kids, there must have been, it was a Saturday, so there must have been, or I don't know what day it was.
Yeah, it was a
There
Friday, and it was a little cute field trip on
A
the
field
school
trip.
bus.
Yeah, it was a field trip, and so they come up to the sunflower patch, and then as I saw in the little distance that someone was sporting a cowboy hat as well, and as they approached because they were walking toward me, I did just a little tip with my hat, and the kid they like took a second and registered, and then they tipped their hat back to me.
It was so cute.
You had to
I
have seen
love
it because
that.
what were they? You think like 6, maybe? Just
Yeah, I bet they were like 7, but just a sweet class, each one of them carrying a sunflower from the fields. You can tell that they were allowed to just go pick one to clip at and take with
mhm.
them. Oh,
It was super
love
cute.
I love a field trip. Those days in school, you were like, yes, we get to go, leave, do something. And if you got to go visit a farm, best
I
case
would love
scenario.
that. Best case scenario, and we ran into Riley's super sweet friend there who works at the farm, and okay, here's the 3 F's that Riley and I are discussing today. Food, friends and family, fun. Does that technically make 4? Yes, but the category friends and family is one. It's one category. So,
Yeah.
as you all know, came back from we just got back from a lovely visit together, and visits are so important, and we talk about it on the pod all the time because clearly this is the Q&R code. We're talking about the twins and Riley and I living apart. Like, it is such an important part of our lives right now, having visits to where each other live. So it just feels significant every time that we have a trip. It's like so special, and we are just in full engage with fun, family, friend, food mode. So honestly, it was really fun to get another peek. Every little peek I get to have into Riley's world where she lives right now, because that is all I get. I just get peeks in to her actual physical world and space. So it's so special every time getting to meet a friend, and we got to go visit Riley's work, which is a place of much joy and and happiness and satisfaction for all of us girls, because it's a beautiful store with that's thoughtfully curated, a lot of handmade and just artisan made incredible goods.
Yes, that's a great descriptor.
You
But
guys
I was
should
getting all
make that your mission
choked up
statement.
with my little twin, talking about our time spent together because that's the way I feel as well. And the only thing that made me feel semi okay prepped for Quinn to go this trip was because first she's off to do such a cool educational opportunity that Quinn has been 10 hooves down into her mulemanship era recently, and I know has just been looking forward to this so much. And then it's gonna be 1 week, and I will see her in her space again, so all is well. But
Yeah.
we are trying to condense our trip to give you guys some Spark Notes highlights because, of course, it felt like a whirlwind, but we did get to enjoy ourselves so much. And maybe I'll hit a note about food in New York City because Quinn and I have been ready and waiting to go back in
Stayed
the
ready.
city and yes, and eat some delicious bites because we have not had like a truly disappointing dining experience there. Maybe I can't say every single meal is like the most memorable of all time, but we've been like, okay, nice, this is good. Um, and we have made our return to it's called Very Tasty Noodles, and it's
Oh.
in Chelsea Market, which is an indoor like food and shopping market that
Mhm.
has lots of different choices, but the hand pulled noodles that are done in a
Oh,
spicy, I think it's Szechuan style, but they
it's
have
right, I realized, duh, that they're cumin. They're cumin curried, like, noodles.
yes,
Oh,
yes, they're
delicious.
so yummy. They do smash. Quinn and I feel like we've almost definitely talked about this meal on the podcast before because I think about their smashed cucumbers all the time. It's like a marinated cucumber salad, which, is a typical thing to find. But the way they do it with the smashed
With the
cucumbers,
cleaver. Ding,
their
ding.
cleaver, but then also their vinegar sauce,
Yeah,
whatever goes into it, is exceptionally delicious. And their fried chicken, little
they're chicken
wings are
wings
exceptionally delicious.
that have the
So,
little crispy seaweed salad on top, and it probably can't be called
and
salad
fava
because
bean,
it's not wet, but that crispy seaweed crunch on top that you
because
can
it's
just
not wet.
well, salads are wet. This is very dry, like dry, sticky, like dry. Um,
Yeah,
but that
fried.
meal was delicious. It was hilarious because we were at Chelsea Market with a friend, and Riley, that friend, and I
Oh,
walked up to a chocolate uh counter where you can order different chocolate stuff, and they had just put out a beautiful samples, ginormous mound of strawberries, chocolate
literally
covered
so
strawberry
many.
pieces. Just it must have been multiple of the largest um whatever quarts of strawberries you can get. So we go over there, we get our toothpicks, we decide to try a tester, And as soon as we've like fished one on, we're just there about to try our first bite, fish one on, and behind us a couple of Karens thought that they would say, ladies, it's not a smorgasbord. To which we turned around and said, um, yeah, we're just taking a tester. And our friends said they continued with a few little comments, um, saying, we said, oh yeah, we're just grabbing one. And Riley said, yeah, I'm grabbing one for my mom as well. And we said it's a little bit difficult to get him on there. And they go, it doesn't look like it's difficult. We were like, okay, it's not like we have a fork and spoon shoveling these. You snuck up on us having just
Imagine
retrieved our first morsel.
yeah.
Like,
Imagine a slippery little sliced strawberry with then like encrusted
the
chocolate
flat
on the top.
toothpicks.
So it was like with a flat toothpick, you're trying to get a strawberry, but like the chocolate has hardened, so it's just shattering completely off of it. So
There's a
anyway, it's not
mound
like
of
it was
strawberries you're trying to skewer with a
it's
flat
not like we
toothpick.
were taking it and making a little
Yeah,
kebab,
we
like
weren't going kebab,
visually.
and then dip back in.
But yeah,
And then
we
they
were just
literally
like,
scoffed at us. We our friend said, I think, what'd she say, Ray?
I think she was basically just like, it's okay to take a deep breath and have a positive attitude. Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
And then they scoffed at us I'm like, oh my God, imagine having such a bad day getting chocolate at Chelsea Market in the beautiful Brooklyn. Wait,
nope.
Manhattan.
Yeah.
But it is
Um,
it was so fun to see the different parts because we stayed in Brooklyn, which is where Riley and I stayed on our last trip as adults to NYC, which is my most memorable experience. We went there once as a child. So to me this is my second, third trip ever to New York City, and it was so fun to see the different stuff that was more happening in Brooklyn and Williamsburg. That's where I did my tattoo guest spot, which was really fun at a beautiful, oh my gosh, beautiful studio. Um very conveniently located right across the street from where one of our childhood friends works, and so we got to spend a lot of time with that friend. And um she is a social butterfly, so she's very in the know on her block, and we got to meet a couple cool people from her and get some good food and go check out the water. That was my
mhm.
personal favorite view of New York. It was the nighttime. We finished our tattoo. I got to tattoo my friend from childhood, a Indian paintbrush, which is Wyoming's state flower, and it turned out awesome. So that was just such a fun, satisfying day. And then we went to the water and all of the lights. That's where the city lights, like, I'm a country girl, we know this,
I
but I'll
love
give
the
my
lights.
moment to the city. And in New York, um, it was so beautifully lit up with, I loved seeing the little ripple of the waves and the Brooklyn Bridge and Williamsburg Bridge, and I don't know, that city view was just looking over to Manhattan. I finally learned the directions of what's even happening in that city. I used to be like, I don't know. So now I know a little bit.
Certainly not perfect, but I am getting my bearings better. Um, on your note about her being just a social butterfly in the neighborhood, I thought that was such a fun part to see because I think anytime you're a traveler somewhere and get to be with someone that lives there and get the sense of how the community operates, I really like that. And I love that the people that work on that block are like visiting each other's shops and getting to know one another and building a sense of community because that's something, of course, is important to us and is one of the not necessarily sacrifices, but in a way it is, to live more rurally that I have definitely considered and mourned the thought of that, just having that level of accessibility to one another when we're all so spread out. Of course, you can still build community and make that extra effort, but I really like that about walkable communities and closer neighborhoods to have have that exchange with each other.
Yeah. It was so fun getting to have that peek, not only into her life, but of the city of Brooklyn. I know it's to me, I've learned the city really refers to Manhattan, but to me, it's all the city if you're around that area and not in upstate New York because it's just the most suburbia I could possibly imagine. That's maybe not the way to say it. The most urban area, like it's
Yeah, it's
city
not even
everywhere.
like a
It's concrete jungle.
suburb at all. Like it doesn't feel like that until you're so much farther out. It just feels like you're walking down city blocks in Brooklyn
Yeah,
100%.
you guys, I'm learning my different language about cities and stuff. So suburbia, that's not what I meant at all. Throw that word away. Um, it
Dude, it's
is
okay. I deserve to out myself on the podcast as well. So the other day when I was at a wedding, I was talking to someone, this was before we went to New York. They said they lived in Boston, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll be, like, going right over you guys." And they were like, "Not quite." And then I thought, "Okay, good
nice.
good check-in," because sometimes what's going on over in New England gets murky for me. If I looked at a map, I feel like I could point out the states, but just to recall that, I was like, "Oh, I guess I guess that is the case, huh?"
Yeah. I I think I'm getting much better at geography over time, much better, but I have a lot to learn and a long ways to go. It does always help so much though when you really have traveled places recently and get to contextualize. Oh, but right, we were talking about it so much this trip, talking about maps, and I think maps are so interesting and so fun. And honestly, I'm not gonna brick this app because I learned so much from my Maps app. That is one app that I have spent some time, if I'm bricked, not crazy amounts of time. And it doesn't even feel like doom scrolling, but I have been spending time looking around the globe and zooming in on certain parts of the world and certain countries. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh, first of all, that makes sense. Second of all, like just learning. I've also I've recently developed an interest in the South Pacific Islands, and I mean, I've always been interested, but my close friend is Tongan, and I've just been interested in like a little bit more of that geography and the history over there, and I just keep being like, "Oh my gosh, all of that I'm learning and discovering, there's so much to know about the world," and even just considering colonizing, like, I was really interested in learning the history of how Tonga was colonized and, like, where is everyone coming from, different places, like, how it's just crazy to think about how places have come to be settled. So,
Mhm.
anyway,
So
that's
maps,
on loving to
uh,
learn.
maps approved by us.
Yeah,
Next, also for our category of fun in New York City, we did go to a Broadway show and it was called The Queen of Versailles
featuring
with
Kristin Chenoweth,
mhm, your girl and
blonde Barbie girly
think Glee, think Wicked, think such an iconic showgirl.
woman.
Showgirl
Yeah.
is that the right
I
term?
think
Probably
that
not, but
works. I think she's a showgirl. I think
yes,
she thinks she's
and
a showgirl. She is.
yes, it was so much fun to go see, first of all, such a different sort of theater than I've ever been in, and I'd be curious to go to more of the theaters on Broadway because maybe this is just to do with having the space that they have, but wouldn't you say, Quinn, it was like the room for the audience was smaller, and the stage, it did go kind of deeper, but I don't know, it was just it felt very different than, the theaters that we grew up going to, so I that struck me, and it was fun because it was, like, a kind of combined approach. I guess it's based off of a documentary, one that I haven't seen, but they brought in that documentary style, and there were sometimes screens, like, it looked like that was a TV showing the
Yeah,
documentary, but of the actors currently on stage.
it was
Um,
interesting.
a
I
lot
thought it
of
was cool how
production
they did
value.
that. A
Yeah,
lot of production value. I thought, like, there's a lot that's going into the making of that, and it does. Growing up in dance, we just appreciate so much the amount of time and effort and blood, sweat, tears goes into creating a show. It takes so much effort to put a nice show together and make things make sense and have the right cast. But I thought that it was really fun and so fun to even just be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm on Broadway." And we went and saw the Plaza, home of our girl Eloise, and we also saw the ce- well, we did, right? We did see an Central Park Ranger on horseback. Yeah, cuz I for a second was going to gaslight myself and be like, "Or did we just see the people riding the carriages?" But no, we saw Central Park Ranger and
We
I was
saw
like,
those police horses in
"Yeah,
their trailer.
yeah, that's so true too. That was such a cool thing to see that we saw being hauled. The two horses and their butts were showing out of the trailer. It was so I love trailers like that where you can actually see in and see the animals. So we
Mhm.
did. We saw a couple of police horses being trailered and I just was like, can I just please stand by them for a second to get my little fill? Um
Quinn's favorite part is the horses or the equine.
Yeah, that is my favorite, most exciting part about anything. And oh my gosh, we really have so much more we could talk about. We packed a lot in, but I would say a couple more highlights. Let's rattle off a couple more highlights.
Rattle off apple picking.
Apple picking was awesome, and that was in Charlottesville.
Yeah, not
I
New
will
York
say
City.
picking out jewelry at our friend's beautiful store. We went and shopped at Scotia is the name of the jeweler and the name of the store that sells really cool, funky, awesome silver and
Mhm.
gold jewelry. Um but that was fun because it's such a cool store in Williamsburg as well, right? That's
Mhm.
Williamsburg.
Yeah,
Um
very interesting objects and
yeah.
vibe.
Yeah, and like it's painted around. Scotia painted it herself and so that was really fun and a food I really loved honestly was that little hand roll sushi spot that was just quick like get your hand roll sushi
Right
and
up
they
the
filled up
street
your
from them.
yeah, right up the street and they filled up your miso soup. They just did, you know. You just get
Yeah.
miso soup in a
First
little
of
cup that
all,
you drink.
yeah, you should always greet me with a little cup of miso soup just to start off the meal. There you are. Yes, I needed that. I wanted it. Thank you.
That's just going to start me on my best foot. That's going to invoke peace and excitement and calmness because then I'm not having
Mhm.
to be like, "Oh, I'm so hungry and I'm so thirsty and when's my food coming?" It's like, "Oh, you already have a little something right
Of
there.
course,
Get started."
of course, you would like a few little sips of miso soup. And
Especially
in
on a
fact,
chilly New York fall. Like, yes, please.
that was delish. And we've had such a yummy little Greek food truck that's new that just opened up. Like, just it's on the either north end of Williamsburg or it's possibly is it in Greenpoint? I'm
Maybe.
throwing that out there because that sounds right. But
It
they
may
had,
be.
like, these kebabs and bowls, and we
Mm,
shared. It was highly delicious. We
highly
wished for
delicious.
wished for more kebabs, but we were so brave. Yeah, I really liked that. scrolling through the memories, rattling off another thing that is Charlottesville apple picking related is we also foraged, found materials, and made a little fall foliage wreath and swag the front of my house. So that's been making me happy and thinking of you guys the past couple of days since I get to see them. But
Ugh,
even though
I
Quinn and my
wanted to
mom,
look at them longer. They're
yeah,
so beautiful. Like think, okay, let's paint a mental picture. Greenery that was super feathery and beautiful and long, long greenery. And then think berries that are both, what's that stuff called? Something bush?
bittersweet. It has
Okay.
little red berries with yellow shells.
Yeah.
And then
Bittersweet, but
there
it
were,
has, yeah, it has red and orange and yellow.
yeah,
And then beautiful autumn leaves and
eucalyptus. That was our one
eucalyptus.
not foraged material was from Trader Joe's we added in.
We had to pay homage to Trader Joe's. So yeah, those were fun and so beautiful, and it cracks me up because I feel like such a thief with us walking off of a farm with stuff in our hands that we didn't pay for, but I'm going to quickly stop and condition that because I believe in foraging and I believe that it is so the Black Forager we love. If you don't follow the Black Forager, change that immediately because she's so cool and educated about foraging food and stuff off the land. She is who Riley got the idea for her not magnolia or yes,
Mm-hmm.
magnolia leaf cookies that she made a while back. And anyway, so foraging, because it's not like we were, going stealing fresh flowers from someone's garden. We were out on this big, expansive property that within the bush, like it is brambles, it is what other people might look at and think is weeds or something. We were just trimming it back, and it's actually very good for the ecosystem you're in to have stuff like that removed and pulled up and bring light back to the roots of the trees and that type of thing. So I actually feel very
Yeah.
empowered by it.
Well, it's what other people might think of as weeds because they are invasive. Like we were taking, if
We
you
weren't
just let
cutting down
these
their maple
vines,
trees.
if you just let these vines grow on those apple trees, they could strangle them and kill the tree. So we were simply removing an invasive vine, but just
Mm-hmm.
because they're invasive or weeds doesn't mean that they're not beautiful and fun to have. And I know that my friend was telling me that some people will be very up in arms to see you using bittersweet because it is technically a berry that then if birds or however it goes somewhere else it could grow again there, and but I'm like, it's not like I'm introducing this plant to the county. It's you see it on the side of the road all the time. It's there. Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think you should go and spread things where they're not meant to be, but also let's be very reasonable. I guess that's a good little cliff notes of our time together. We've got our 3 to 5 Fs, and we had each other. And now Quinn's off to be the muleman that she's always been.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited. That's going to be a fun episode next week, giving you updates about our mulemanship clinic, and it's pretty fun right now. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, but it's pretty fun getting our trailer and truck all set up and having bought all our groceries because we're camping for 5 days out of our trailer for the clinic. So it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot just new stuff happening for us. And um I will I will finally close out on the note of I feel so lucky to feel like I'm refreshed going into this because I was able to have with all of the working parts, part of the working parts being my husband Sean. I would say that is a big part of the working parts being my husband Sean holding down the fort and feeding all of the, not just feeding, like stewarding the animals and making sure everyone was healthy and cared for. Plus, one additional dog because our family's dog Fletcher stayed with Sean. Um, but him doing all of that as well as working full time, and then getting to be with my mom and Riley, who just make my life so rich and feel easier, and people cooking for me and letting me sit down on the couch and read during the day and not have to do something. Like, I actually had moments of true restoration, like that I just feel so grateful for, and it just makes me, I feel like I have to shout it, that feeling out on the pod, because I had worked myself to the point where I was feeling like burning the wick at both ends, starting to get pretty anxious, feeling pretty down about my future, because it just, even if you do, I feel like I worked too hard for 3 to 4 weeks, like put in way too much for 3 to 4 weeks, and it was enough to make it feel like, my world's kind of ending right now. Like, this is so intense. How am I going to make it through to next week? And my vacation just could not have come at a better time, and I really did get to have a reset. So I feel so grateful. And if there are ways in your life as an individual that you could ask for help from a friend, or, close friend or family, in a way that could take weight off for a reset, I feel like we all, what good community does is pitch in for each other to have those type of moments and to have a good, happy, joyful quality of life, and that includes rest and pitching in. So, Riley, Mom, Sean, everyone, my dad who's here helping right now, Braden, everyone who like made that happen for me. I'm just so grateful and feel so happy going into this first week of November. So happy November. We appreciate you all. And watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/at the Q&R code. Follow us on Instagram at the Q&R code. Riley Liliestrom and Quinn Liliestrom, tattooed by Quinn. Anything else?
Yep,
Let's sign off.
that's it. Talk to you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.